Glad to know you're still with us. Right now, we'll do a comparative analysis of first half 2022 performance of agricultural companies. Well, we have about 4 of them. We're looking at livestock feeds, Presco, Okomu Oil Palm, and FTN Cocoa. And then we'll look at their first year earning in 2022 against 2021 earning, and then we'll look at the percentage change. We'll have it displayed right now. So for livestock feeds in 2022, they had 7.19 billion naira. And in 2021, 7 billion naira, the percentage change being 2.72. For Presco, 41.71 billion naira in 2022, and in 2021, 21.46 billion naira. The percentage change there, 94.32. For Okomu Oil, 40.79 billion naira in 2022, and in 2021 half year, 23.63 billion naira. Percentage change, 72.63. FTN Cocoa, 16.97 million naira in 2022, and in 2021, 290.78 million naira. That's minus 94.16%. Now, this is what we are reviewing right now. So let's start with you, Mr. Garuba. Let's have your thought on the earnings of these companies. Well,
it is clear that we are dealing with 2 leaders, and out of them, the smart is getting top and better. Yeah. Because you can see that previous year, Okomo is leading. Now, by this year, just half year, we see where Presco is. And you remember that Presco had an acquisition. So it's just a matter of time that it will lead in all respect. It's just a matter of time, just like what we witnessed with Access Bank in the banking sector. This is likely going to repeat itself in the agricultural sector. My major concern is the FTN Cocoa. Is this company alive? Because when your turnover is seriously declined, it gives me the impression as if you have closed the shop.
Yes.
Because you cannot add this material of time. Where is the inflation? Where is the rising of the prices? So I cannot expect FTN Cocoa to decline that so much, except if they are closing the shop.
All right, Alhaji, now let's have your thought, Mr. Charles.
Well, for FTN Cocoa, I think it needs restructuring.
Okay.
You know? We wouldn't want the company to just close shop like that, because agriculture is one of the sectors that we try to support, because we need to earn a lot of foreign exchange from that sector. And if you know what MTN Cocoa is doing,
but you know, we're not just looking at, we're also looking at investors, we're looking at shareholders, yes, we're looking at our investments.
I agree with that.
Okay.
You know, because if the company is doing very well, at the end of the day, the
number will show,
the investors will also benefit, because they were supposed to be processing cocoa, adding value, cocoa butter, cocoa cake, and all that. But they also went into doing palm kernel, palm oil and all that. So I think it's a structural problem with FTN Cocoa. And I think, like Alhaji would say, they should just wait for any of these ones to just buy them over and see whether they still have some value for them to become more productive.
All right, very quick, let's have your thought before we check out profit after tax.
You know, Alhaji have said something that is very genuine in terms of performance in that sector. Also look at the life of Ella Lake. Ella Lake result is not, that's why it's not here. Ella Lake already doing the work called re-engineering, trying to put things in a proper perspective to come up with their good activities. But in terms of livestock and FTN Cocoa, livestock years for the past almost 6 years now, we have not seen dividend coming from that angle. The numbers improved for like almost 3 years. For the past 2 years, again, we are seeing a mixed number up and down. Investors are not really clear where the company is going in terms of performance. But I believe that investors should just stay patient. That sector, if you look at the GDP report that just came today, see that agriculture sector contributed more to that GDP number. It tells that there is potential in that sector. For me, I believe that the managers of this company should sit down and see what Okomu. Yes, we know that Okomu and Presco are in a palm oil business that is very lucrative as we speak. Now, even the demand in Nigeria alone is high because of different products for that associated with the palm oil. But I believe there's opportunity for both Okomu, both Presco, for them to expand. That is why every investment we're doing now is again the future. You know, a company has the way of expanding their business, not going organically alone. But the life of Presco and Okomu, they are different pattern of the expansion. You know, can see that now Presco have taken a lead to acquire another company in that, so that their market share will go. Because like you said, looking at the number alone, I see that this half year, they've gone ahead of Okomu. But if you have Okomu payment out, that's where people market are seeing it, so that their pricing Presco bit like Okomu payout. Just that in 3 dividend of full year, at times it's bigger than what Presco. But I believe that in time, ahead of the future, or in the future, we believe that Presco will come up with good payout system that will support their price. But I believe that the two companies has high upper potential that investors should key into them, especially those that are thinking medium and long.
All right, let's look at the profit after tax. Now we'll start with livestock feeds. Minus 95.37 million naira, that's 2022 half year. And then in 2021, 161.38 million naira. The change there is minus 159.10. For Presco, 13.47 billion naira 2022, 2021, 10.13 billion naira. And the percentage change, 33.06. For Okomu oil palm, 16.84 billion naira in 2022, and in 2021, 9.54 billion naira. The percentage change, 76.57. FGN cocoa, 169.77 million naira, that's minus. And then 2021, minus 1.48 billion naira. What you have as the change there is minus 88.52. That's a whole lot. What exactly is happening here?
I would say the two local stock there, their numbers are not looking attractive at all. Well, I believe that you can see, like I said, at times as an analyst or investor, you look at the bottom line, it's very, very important. After seeing expanding your market share, at the end of the day, in between the top line and the bottom cost associated with all your transactions will reflect. You can see from the figure that we just showed now that in turnover, Presco was leading. In profit after tax, Okomu is leading. That we believe that with time we know exactly, because you can see 13 billion and 16 billion. There is more different there. We believe that expect Presco to come up and give us a number that will also match Okomu. But with time, it will happen. For investors in this sector, you need to also think long, because while taking long, agriculture have come to stay. Government is really encouraging agriculture. Not only that, if you look at what is happening in the world today, every government is looking inward, which either they have competitive advantage. Where now we have a lot of pushes here. We need to look at agriculture. For me, I believe that government is also going to palm production because of they have the currency or foreign exchange that we're earning from it. That is a good one for the two companies. But let's go our finger crossed. Let's watch to see the Q3 number.
Just a quick word.
All right.
Yes, I think I will go with Okomu. I think Okomu has shown market leader in that. And again, we're also not looking at the management of this company, the people who are involved. You can see that I know Presco has some very wonderful managers that are doing the best. For Okomu, we also have a seasoned investment banker on their board, an executive director, and I won't mention his name, and I believe his presence there is really driving Okomu oil, and we believe that they will continue to do better, but they should try to, their cost of sales, they should try to see how they can manage it very well, because like Abu will always say, if the top line is okay, what about the bottom line? So they need to look at that very well in terms of managing their cost of sales. All
right, Mr. Garba, let's have your take on this.
Well, it is very clear, and the watchers have valued it accordingly. For the interim dividend declared by Okomu, you can see where the price is. We are talking of 193 against Presco, that is 140 and trading at 121.
Yeah.
It shows clear that the market is after the dividend.
Yeah.
And I expect Presco will realize this and do the needful.
Yeah.
But I have no doubt, for me, I hope that Okomu is not eating everything. Because when you eat everything, it denies you expansion, and therefore the continuity will be in a very hard situation. Because agriculture, if you look at their product half-life cycle, most of them after 5 years they have to start all over. So I hope that they will take care of that so that it maintains continuity and sustainability for the Okomu.
All right. Well, let's check out the earnings per share now. For livestock feeds, that's 3 kobo. For Presco, 13 naira 47 kobo. And then for Okomu oil, it's 17 naira 65 kobo. FGN cocoa, we have minus 8 kobo there, the earnings per share. I really feel, especially when you look at livestock feeds and then you look at FGN cocoa, that really isn't good enough. Talk to us about that.
Yes, like Ambrose and Co will say numbers don't have emotions. You know, the figures are there. It shows that the management of livestock feeds and FTN cocoa, they need to really go back and
go to the drawing
board and see if they even need help. You know, but government is trying to bail out agricultural companies, so I think they can also apply for those kind of bailout, because we need more companies in this agricultural sector so that they can add value to our products before we can begin to sell and export. So we'll earn more and better for a foreign currency for these agricultural. Not just we cultivate and just sell the product. We just need to add value so that what we will get in terms of revenue will be okay. So for FTN cocoa and livestock feeds, I think they should seek for Federal Ministry of Agriculture intervention fund. I think that might go a long way in saying that they restructure their operations and return back to profitability in the nearest future.
Okay, that's it. Talking about restructuring, if you were to advise them, what would you say they should put in place, really?
Yes, first of all, they should look at what other companies have done. Invite, there's nothing wrong. Invite Ministry of Agriculture. Yes, and see what can be done. It's that even if they are machine or they are packaging, they should look at it very well. Because I still believe there is a lot of potential in livestock feeds and FTN cocoa. We're talking of cocoa products. If we can get it right, processed cocoa butter, cocoa cake, bonfita, you know, there is potential in that company. But I just believe that for me it's an issue of maybe management and not actually knowing what to do. But there is potential in terms of the cocoa industry. And
of course, I'm not sure FTN cocoa has competition, and so, I mean, has so much of a competition, so one would expect a lot more to be done.
Yes, because companies are looking for these products. So if they play it very well, I'm sure that company can come back to profitability, but they need intervention.
Okay, so he's saying they need intervention. So what do you think?
Yeah,
I want you to speak generally on the earnings per share. Now.
Yeah, no, like if you look at the earnings per share, which I said, that is what investors are looking at, because from there, whether dividend will come or not. Looking at Komo and what's called livestock and the FTN, there's no, you are not expecting dividend because we can't be negative and expect. That means investors should think. I know that people are already waiting to see a good number, because before now we saw improvement in 2021. Giving a sign that may likely sustain it in 2020. But for first quarter result, there was a missed number. This half year also missed number. That also giving a sign that dividend expectation for 2022 is very, very slim, because we're already in a half year. I believe that the investor in these two stocks should also look at way, because if you have lost more than 20% of your position, and there's nothing that is going to change the price, what I would say at this time, you might try to cut your loss and move, or let's before now or after this program, we'll see another positive information that is coming. But on the strength of the Q2 number or half year number, I think these two companies have to be very careful with them.
Okay, so for people who are already shareholders, what do you advise?
They have different investment objectives.
Okay.
If you look at that company, about 76% of that company is owned by USC, and they are long-term investors.
That's livestock feeds. Yes.
They are not rushing to sell. It's really the retail investor that has some reward. But if you know there's something that you are seeing, fine. But for me, for now, want to start seeing positive numbers, I think we can stay away from the stock for now and come back later. Okay,
stay away for now and come back later. And let me know, Mr. Garba, do you share the same thought with Ambrose?
Well, to some extent I did, but you see, market said it all. If you remember, a few months ago, livestock was trading above 2 naira.
Yes, sir.
Today it's trading just at 1 naira.
24.
And if it continues with this negative return, it can go below 1 naira. And that become a penny stock.
Yes.
I hope they will do something. But we know the clear challenge that livestock is facing by the Olam. Olam have opened a factory in Kaduna doing almost what they are doing in Jos. And that gives them a tough time so they need to strategize and change and for the better. And it is our duty for the broker to bring Olam back to the market so that we will have more place for play.
Okay, yeah, yes. It's true.
All right, so we're looking at profit to earnings ratio now. And before we talk about it, I'd like you to just highlight some of the importance of this profit to earnings ratio. What's its implication, and what decisions can be made based on this?
No, for me, your profit margin or profit ratio?
Profit to earnings ratio, PE ratio.
PE ratio, okay. Price to earnings.
Price to earnings. Price to earnings.
No, for me, that's the shortest way for you to kind of evaluate a company. In this sense, tell you how long you're going to stay to recoup your investment if the earnings of the company remain constant. But if the earnings improve, you might reduce your waiting period in that company. But give an insight, for example, if a company has a 2 point something times the earnings, tell that okay, 2 years you are going to wait. Higher it is, but that's why for me it's just a simple way. But that's not only way to evaluate a company. But easy way for people to look and say, oh, my waiting period is but it's a good way to really give you an insight what is happening in the company, how long if the earnings remain constant. But if it improves, you might reduce your waiting period. That's why earnings is very, very important when it comes to investment. Because
okay,
how long.
All right. When you say recouping your investment, is it in terms of per share or all the shares you're holding?
All the shares, your earnings, for example, you have invested 1 million naira in a stock.
Exactly.
To get 1 million naira.
So in just 2 years.
I say, I'm giving you an example. I give you an example. If it's 2 point, sometimes it's 2 times your earnings.
Yes.
For me, that will take that's 2 years. That is the implication, but it's not only way to really invaluable. It gives you an insight what to expect. Because my sister company that have almost 32 point something, it's going to take longer. Oh, but if the earnings of that company start increasing, it will reduce it.
It keeps reducing.
Because we are looking at the earnings that.
I think to make it very clear, it is on the condition that you assume all earnings are distributed to the shareholders.
Yes.
If all earnings are distributed to the shareholders, you cover it within that period. And therefore, in this respect, you say Presco is number 1 or Okomo is number 2. Because if all earnings are distributed as dividend to the shareholder, then whoever invests in Presco will recoup his money much earlier than the Okomo. I believe it's just a matter of time, because this is the function of not only your earning but the function of your price. You remember Okomo is trading at 196, while Presco is trading at 140. So you can see there is already a price differential that gives it a lower PE ratio for the Presco than that of the Okomo. But the simple logic is assume that all earnings are distributed to the shareholder. This is the time it will take you to recoup your investment.
All right. So when we look at livestock feeds, minus 36.17, what does that mean? It means you're not going to recoup anything. Minus 36, yes.
You have lost it. You have lost it.
You have lost it. That's true. That's correct.
All right. For Presco, we have 11.76. For Okomo Oil, we have 12.29. For FGN Cocoa, we have minus 3.89. Wow. So you've lost that one too. Okay. Well, very quickly, let's move on to book value per share. That's the BVPS. And then for livestock feeds, 80 kobo. For Presco, 43 naira 26 kobo. For Okomo Oil, 45 naira 35 kobo. And then for FGN Cocoa, we have 97 kobo. Mr. Garuba, let's have your thought on this.
Yes, what I will let you know that for FGN Cocoa, you are already at a loss. So what it means that whatever you have invested in that is as if you have lost it. If they are to liquidate the company, because what it means that you will not get a dime. But for the rest, this is what I'm telling you, and it is the implication for the investors to find out that book value is just for the sake of book entry.
Yes.
What matters is the returns. And most of the time you see people that book value, they have an obsolete items that if you earn zero value. So don't be carried away by the book value. The most important is your earning and the dividend. Book value is just to give you a comfort.
Exactly.
Okay. Mr. Javier, if you can hear me, we'd like to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
Mr. Javier, if you can hear me, I would like to hear your thought. All right, I guess we're having difficulty hearing him. Let's have your thought. I see you wanted to say something.
Looking at the numbers there, one would say, okay, Okomo and Presco, they're already overpriced.
Overpriced. If you look at that alone.
If you look at that alone, it's seriously overpriced, you know. And for short-term investors, it's okay, since you're overpriced, sell off and take your profit.
No.
But there is still potential in this company. They are stable, they pay good dividends. So I would advise investors to stay medium to the long term for those two companies.
All right, your 2 cents.
Yeah, for me, the sector is a sector that you can play long, short, and and the medium. It depends on your investment objective. I see potential in the agri-sector. I've said earlier, if you look at the GDP, even since after COVID-19, you can see that sector has constantly support our economic growth. For me, that sector and the communication or information sector have done well for Nigeria economy. For me, I think we should sustain our investment in that. And that's why when I see the life of MTN, Airtel, Presco and Nokomu, they are doing well. It shows that sector is also doing well. For we investors or analysts, to look at whose sector again that is doing well, that is not on the market, so that we can know. Because it's easy for you to analyze. Because once you look at your GDP, you can see even what is happening in our sector with the good number. You can see that it's not supporting our GDP because of what we are not producing to our capacity, what's the call within outlook or our quota exactly. Okay. For me, I think we should also improve there so that we can still support the economy. But these two and others, banking, manufacturing, you can see the role they are playing in the economy. For me, it's a good one.
All right, let's look at the profit margin now. For profit margin, livestock feeds minus 1.33. For Presco, 32.31. For Como oil, 41.28. For FTN cocoa, minus 1,000.25. I like that expression from Mr. Charles. You mind showing us again?
No, it is clear. Numbers don't tell lies. It's obvious that FTN cocoa is not being managed properly at all. You can see the numbers is showing us what we have there. Again, I've said they need to go for restructuring and look for maybe buyers.
Buyers.
Yes, they should look for buyers and, of course,
take them over.
To take them over, that's also a good one. Then at the same time, the government can also intervene in terms of these funds they are trying, because we need to be serious about agriculture. I just mentioned the contribution of agriculture to GDP. And we know that any nation, the first thing you need to feed your people. With the Russia-Ukraine war, we're talking of wheat, we cannot. Exactly. So agricultural sector has to be given that extra incentive, because there is no point for us to begin to import food to feed our people, despite insecurity. So the government should not just allow FTN cocoa to go down. I think they should now begin to call for investors who can, because I still see potential in that FTN cocoa. Yeah. They might change the name, because they did not start with FTN cocoa. And it's a company that has been in the Nigerian scene for a very long time. So I think everything boils down to management.
It's true.
And of course, getting the right technology and capacity. I believe FTN cocoa will do well in terms of processing cocoa, because Nigerians
been lacking behind when it comes to processing. And then we have the produce here.
We have the produce, so it's to process it,
it's about processing.
Add value to it, so that they can serve other industries. Cadbury will be waiting for it. Even Nestle too will be waiting for it. So there is a market for the processing of cocoa.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Mr. Garabai, if you can hear me, let's have your thought on this.
Well, the truth of the matter is not what I see. MTN cocoa is just by name, but I don't see it living. Because the truth of the matter, everybody knows that we still produce cocoa.
Yes.
But why are we exporting cocoa? Because the local manufacturers don't have the capacity or the working capital that they can go into the market, buy the raw material and turn it into chocolate. Rather, the exporters are finding their way. Then coming back to the other, it is very obvious that Okomo is leading in terms of the profit margin as well as return on investment, and that shows you why they have a high return. But my major concern, yes, is good enough, but you have to look for more expansion, because there is room for expansion.
All right, thank you so much. Very quickly, let's look at the return on, that's the ROE, okay. For livestock feeds, we have minus 3.96. For Presco, 31.15. For Como oil, 38.92. For FGN cocoa, 7.97. Ambrose, I'd like you to talk to us about the importance of this ROE and what sort of decisions one can make based
this
on
tells
it.
you return on investment. How much of your money you are giving to this company has been turned toward to profitability that you are seeing. And for anywhere in the world, many things are above 15%, that the company is doing well. Yeah. For Commune, I can see that, and the Presco, they are above 15. For me, they are okay. It tells you that there is potential in this also companies and ahead. you're having a good return at the end of the day. That means they're making effective use of your capital that you've given to them, which is good for investment decision for investors to look at. I believe that there's potential in those companies that we should not panic. Price coming down is opportunity, but also look at the payout ratio of this company, which is also very, very important. Okomu has given us just interim of 7 naira, and if you look at interim, they paid the previous year 2 naira. Yeah. Now, Presco did 1 naira. We didn't see anyone this time. We don't know what we're going to do at the end of the year. If Okomu pay addition, that is why you see Okomu remain at the top there because of the payout formula or the payout ratio of the company. That is what I think Presco, once they expand with all their investment, they also should increase their payout. And that when the company is expanding, you pay less to use your money to expand. That's why people at times say that Access is not paying good dividends. I say no. Access has to characterize it's a good value stock and a growth stock. If you're a growth company, you pay less dividend to where you can expand. You can see that the Presco is going to expansion, which is good. With time, when the expansion starts yielding results to reflect on the numbers and have more return on investment.
Yes, let me just mention quickly about Presco. I think, yes, Presco is going to give a run for Okomu's money. So Okomu should not just think that they're already the leader. Yes, Presco, for me, also have their environmental standard, what we call the EGS. That is environment, social governance. And for any company, for me personally, to be profitable, it is not just only the numbers that matters. What have you done in terms of the quality of the environment? In getting those numbers, those earnings, those profits, have you destroyed the environment? So
you're looking at sustainability now.
Sustainability. Presco has done a lot in terms of wherever they are, in terms of their production, they also make sure that they don't destroy that environment. They take care of the environment very well. They have put in measures in place. In fact, they're even making it compulsory for all their plants, all their farms to be environmentally sustainable. At the same time, not just the environment, they also take care of their people too. That is where the governance, yes, people, profit, planet, what I call the 3 bottom line, the 3 P's. So you must meet each of these bottom line so that we have a balanced ecosystem and this planet Earth will be a better place for all of us, because nobody's going to jackpot to Mars.
Well, in wrapping up, looking at this industry, what would be your advice to investors?
Yes, for investors, I would just tell them, you have taken your decisions. Okomu, Presco, or if you still have faith in livestock, because I know livestock with UAC connection, maybe something can still be done there, but adopt what I call the Naira cost average.
Okay.
Yes, that is, have a fixed amount, you invest regular interval. With that, you'll be avoiding emotional investment. But if you want to still play the market very well, attend some root class.
Yeah, just like what you say, for me, the sector has a positive outlook for the palm oil business or Okomu, because the more we're expanding and trying to expand our healthcare or what we call medicine or financial, all those things, we need to demand for oil, palm oil, because it's part of what they use to do drugs, will be high. Not only that, as they are also exporting, they are earning foreign hard income. For me, I believe that sector is still very, very positive in terms of outlook. And we believe that because demand is there, nothing is most better than when we are producing and sellers, buyers are already on ground, you will make money easy. For me, I think that is what Okomu and Presco is enjoying that sector. For me, investor that is there should not panic. When you see the stock price pull back, know why you are there and buy, because most time people say averaging down, you wait for a longer period. That's why I say if you want to buy stock, close price is very important for the week, for the month. Also look at, is there any information coming? And that's why timing is very, very key. Those understand investors that I will tell you, have to invest.
But when you look at the prices, are you looking at when it's reducing or when it's increasing?
Look at the price it closed for the day.
Favors you?
You are buyer will look at the down price to buy. No buyer want to buy it up. Every buyer want to see what it closed. Is it lower or up? No, it's want to sell. That's why I'm thinking of how to sell higher. For buyer like us, we want to buy lower. So because we see the higher upside potential and that stuff. But I believe that for these two stocks, you see them pulling back and you have fund that you can commit to, and you don't need that fund immediately. Okay. Buy into those stocks and but if you know that you want to be a trader, don't tie more money to that stock company again. Go for where you can see there's a movement and buy and trade. But if you are thinking you want to increase your stake so that when dividend comes, you get more dividend, can be buying, as you just said, I know, means that we are buying, consistently.
All right. Thank you so much for your thoughts. Well, Mr. Garuba, in closing, let's have your thought.
Well, it is very obvious that the two leaders, Okoma and Resco, have high returns, which you hardly get it in any other sector. So it shows to us that the place to go is agriculture. Because a return of 41%, a return of 31%, you hardly get it anywhere in the sectors.
Yeah.
So it is very obvious for the investors who are in this stock to know they are in the right channel, and they should hold to their stock and hope for more. And we pray, and the broker will wake up and bring more agricultural sector into the market, because with this kind of return, nothing to regret for bringing them into the market.
All right, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us, Mr. Garuba Kurfi. All right, thank you too for sharing your thoughts with us, Charles Fakroha. Thanks for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure.
All right. Many thanks to you for coming on the show.
Thank you. John. Yeah. Thank God I made it today.
We'll talk about that later.
And it's Friday.
Well, many thanks for joining us on the show today. And it's Friday. Enjoy the weekend. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter. To enjoy the rest of the day. Bye for now.